The member for Stirling.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Veterans and Defence Personnel. Will the Minister update the House on how the Morrison government's certain and stable budget position has helped to deliver essential services to veterans and their families?
The Minister for Veterans Affairs and Defence Personnel. Members on my left.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the member for Stirling for his question? And I will note his service in the Australian Army, and I say to him, as I say to all members in this place on both sides of the chamber, thank you for your service. And Australians, Mr Speaker, can be proud of the support we provide to our veteran community and their families. And more than $11.5 billion in this year's budget will go towards supporting around 280,000 veterans and their families. And it's due to the strong budget position that we've been able to have a record investment in the transformation of the Department of Veterans Affairs over the last 3 budgets. In fact, an additional $500 million has been provided for the Department of Veterans Affairs for that transformation program, which has made it faster, easier, less stressful for the majority of veterans making their claims through the digitisation of records, which has been welcomed right throughout the ex-service community. And I'll say also, Mr Speaker, that that strong budget has allowed for greater investment in mental health programs across our nation. In fact, $230 million per year is provided for our veterans to support them if they're suffering from mental illness or need some assistance of a professional nature. And this government has been able to introduce free lifetime health care for all veterans and their families. And for those veterans listening today who may be struggling with their own mental health, I encourage them to contact the Open Arms number on 1800 011 046. That's 1800 011 046. And I was also pleased to announce, Mr Speaker, during the election period and since that period, there has been bipartisan support for the 6 new wellbeing centres which are being developed across our nation, many of them in members' opposite seats, but also on the crossbench, and several of them on this side of the chamber. And also in this year's budget, Mr Speaker, there was $16 million in additional funding to assist with veterans' employment initiatives working with the ex-service community. So all initiatives, Mr Speaker, that have been made possible through a strong budget position. And just yesterday, Mr Speaker, just yesterday in this place we had bipartisan support for legislation which seeks to better recognise, offer respect to our veterans on a daily basis, not just on Anzac Day, not just on Remembrance Day, but throughout the year. And I was pleased to receive the support of those opposite in terms of the new Veterans Card, that nationally identifiable Veterans Card, which will be made available to veterans throughout our nation, the Veterans Covenant, which has had strong support right throughout the nation over the past 12 months, and the new Veterans Lapel Pin. And I'll be making those the information about the distribution of the Veterans Lapel Pin available to members opposite and members on this side of the chamber in the coming days, how they can be involved personally in the distribution of those pins in their own community if they so wish to be involved. And I realise, Mr Speaker, that props are unparliamentary, but in this case I would like to just demonstrate to the House that this new pin will be available for everyday public recognition of our veterans throughout the nation. And it's a simple way that I think, as a community, as members of Parliament—
Minister's fine to display that. I don't regard it as a problem.
It's a simple way, I think, Mr Speaker, where we can all acknowledge our veterans on a daily basis and say to them simply, thank you for your service.